Welcome, everybody, to the Grueling Cruise Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show. We're at Week 15. The Bengals Weekly Show is brought to you by Gridiron Mo, a new interactive football app where you get to call what the offense or defense should do during a live NFL game and see what all others have called also. So check out Gridiron Mo at www.gridironmo.com. I'm your host for the Bengals Weekly Show, Mike Goodpaster, and I want to welcome in my co-host, former Cincinnati Bengal linebacker, Joe Kelly.
Hey, that's two in a row, Mike. I don't know, man. It's been a long time. But it feels good. It was Cleveland, but I'll take it. The way things have been going on around Cincinnati and the team, I'll take that victory. Even though at times it seemed like they were trying to do things to allow Cleveland to come back. So it was a good thing that they didn't fold. They stayed patting on what they were doing and were able to pull out that victory.
I'll tell you, Joe, as bad as Cleveland is, I don't think the Bengals could have done anything short of actually scoring touchdowns for them to help them win that game.
Yeah, it was. They looked pretty bad. I was trying to look at Hugh Jackson's demeanor, and it just that team. It wasn't what I know, and I know Hugh Jackson personally, but it was just it just showed you that they are just not talented enough to compete at a high level.
No, at the start of the year, I think they had enough talent to at least compete. But you know yourself, as the NFL season goes on, people get hurt, and there's just no depth at all there.
Absolutely none. At no position. When you have your wide receiver, Terrell Pryor, I think he's a great athlete, awesome athlete, had an awesome college career. I don't think he's the number one receiver. I think he would get cut on majority of teams playing receiver, and he's their go-to guy. And I think that our corners showed them that. Our corners have been getting beat by a lot of average receivers, and they totally shut down.
But Joe, this is a team in Cleveland that really has nothing outside of him and Corey Coleman. So, I mean, it's not like there's a third, fourth wide receiver there that can do any damage. I mean, you basically just got to stop those two guys, and it's pretty much done. I mean, even here in Cincinnati, if A.J. Green's healthy, you got Tyler Eifert, you got Tyler Boyd, they don't even have a Brandon LaFell up there to go to.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I don't know what happened to Andrew Hawkins, because when he was here, I always thought he was pretty good, but he's kind of disappeared up there.
Yeah, and they don't. I was looking at him. I seen him after the game, but they don't utilize him. It's you put a guy like him in the slot, and to me, a guy like that, you create a mismatch every time you put him in the slot. You put him out, you put him in motion. More than likely, he's going to be going against your third cornerback or even a safety. So I don't think they're utilizing what they have. They don't have much to start with. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of good things that I did see. I think A.J. Green being out has even made Tyler Boyd grow up a little more, and I think he's being a rookie. He a lot of rookies hit that wall, because in college he played 12 games, 12 games, and 8. We got 4 preseason games, 8 regular season games. That's an entire college season. So now, you look at a lot of rookies that are hitting that wall at this point, and I think because of that A.J. Green, that has allowed him to even progress even more during his rookie year. So I liked there was a lot of things that the Bengals did well Sunday.
Yeah, and Boyd, I mean, if you compare him to other rookie wide receivers in Bengals history, I mean, he's having a year as good as any of them outside of maybe Isaac Curtis, Chris Collinsworth, Eddie Brown, and A.J. Green. And maybe Pickens. But, I mean, outside of that, I mean, he's in that company the way he's played this year, I think.
Yeah, he is. You know, and I think it bodes well for the offense. I think Andy is getting a little more comfortable. They started Winston again. I think, you know, I see a major improvement. I see a major impact, and it just kind of pisses you off that it is taking you. It took 10 games, 11 games to, you know, make a move, and I think with, you know, the way he with an off season and work and mini camp and another training camp, he can get better because he's an awesome athlete. But it's just the season. You just about threw away the season with that guy 70. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, I mean, people complain about Mike Nugent, who we'll talk about in a little bit, losing him a couple games. But I think that, boy, he was even a bigger reason why they lost the Redskin game, and I think he's a huge reason why they lost the Buffalo game.
To me, honestly, there was first Pittsburgh game. I can go back to just
pretty much every game we lost, it was him.
I mean, just
center.
Absolutely whiffing. You know, it's just bad offensive tackle play, and as a result, Andy either got sacked in crucial situations, you know, was pressured, had to get out of the pocket. You know, you name it. There's
heck, Joe, the Giants game, that last drive where they pretty much sacked him 3 times in a row, running straight around him.
Exactly. You know, and it's unfortunate because, Mike, if you look at the season, and as bad as we feel the season has gone, if we take 2 of those games, and I'm saying we're in every game, if we take 2 of those games and we just win, you know, you sustain your block here, you know, this series, you sustain your block there on another series, we win the game. You know, we win the game, so you're not looking at 5-7-1. You know, we're going into this thing, and we're literally, you know, 3 or 4 games, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that irritate me the most are the Washington and the Buffalo, because those were 2 games that should have been won. And if they were, we'd be sitting 7-5, playing to get into a tie for first place this week.
Yeah. This would literally be a game for first place. But you know, it is what it is, man, and we have to lay in the bed that we made, and have to hope for some miraculous things happening that we don't control. But at the end of the day, we control what we can do. So we have these next 3 games. You got you know, this game. This is a big week. You lost to Pittsburgh. You know, they beat you, put you out the playoffs. What better way to, you know, go into this game, execute, beat Pittsburgh, win out, you know, and you never know. I think you never know, Mike. You never know. It's a far stretch. But
Joe, you know what's got to happen in all those equations for the Bengals to make the playoffs? The Cleveland Browns have to go to Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. And you cannot tell me stranger things have happened in the NFL, because I don't think they have.
Well, that's not going to be one of them.
No, so I mean, there we're dead. Our time of death was when Pittsburgh won their last game, because that meant the only way we could get in is if Cleveland were to beat them, and I don't see Cleveland beating anybody outside of maybe the Jets or the 49ers right now.
I don't even see them beating those 2 teams. They just. I looked at a team. I just looked at a team that's defeated. I looked at a team that those guys had already packed up. Their apartments are packed up. You know, the moving truck is ready to go, man. You look at it, and I didn't see any fight. I didn't see any disappointment in the loss. Game was over, and you know, they ran off the field, shook hands, they smiled, and you know, it's just. You know, it's just something that they accepted, and went up to the game this weekend, and they are actually rooting for the city of Cleveland is going to have a parade if they stay winless. You know, and it's It's tough. It's tough when you're in that environment. It's tough to play in that environment, and that's what it is. So Cleveland, I don't think that's a huge or a big measuring stick. We beat them. Everybody would beat them. So
yeah, but Joe, let's face it. I mean, everybody'd want to go 0-16 if they got a parade. That would be kind of cool. Did they throw toilet paper instead of confetti?
Right, exactly.
All right, we brought it up a little bit. Mike Nugent was finally released a couple hours ago. The Bengals signed Randy Bullock. You going to miss Mike Nugent?
Absolutely not, Mike. I was sitting up there, man, in that cold weather, and when he kicked the grounder, that was it. That was it for me as a fan. Even as a teammate, it would be hard for me to say, okay, how is this guy keeping his job? How is that possible? Because if I was a linebacker and I was playing that awful, believe me, there is no way that I would keep my job, that I would be starting, let alone starting, that I would even be on the team. So, this is a game of confidence. Kickers, he can kick. He's been an accurate NFL kicker.
Yeah, he was a hell of a kicker for the first decade. It's just the last few years just kind of went to hell.
Yeah. So, I think, at this point that his confidence is shot so much when you are struggling that bad on extra points. And even when the kick when he kicked the grounder, it wasn't a bad snap. It wasn't a really bad hold. It was just a really bad kick. And I just think that was it. How do you
he's missing, Joe, I mean, they should keep him because I want to see how many games in a row he can go missing an extra point. He's at 5 right now.
Mike, you love torture, man. You.
I mean, that's kind of like Joe DiMaggio getting traded to the Japanese league at 56 straight games hit. I mean, I want to see how long this will last.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, Mike. There are a lot of people that are ecstatic today. I've seen a lot of posts on social media, wanting this guy gone, and unfortunately, he's cost us a couple games. You can say what you want and try and support him, but at the end of the day, this guy cost us victories, and it wasn't victories where had he made a 54-yarder at the end of the game, we would have.
Yeah, we're talking an extra point in the Washington game.
Extra point, an extra point here, a field goal here, makeable field goals, 30, field goals within 40 yards that he's missed. And had he made those very makeable field goals, we would at least be 2 games better than we are. But it's unfortunate that it took them this long to finally pull the trigger.
All right, so I guess our playoff game is this week. We play the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are in first place in the AFC North. Joe, we'll talk a little bit about Steeler Week. I think your first Steeler game would have been what, the Sunday night game in '86 against Bubby Brister?
Yeah, against Bubby Brister. Yeah, exactly. It's
I think the Bengals won that game like 22-20, but Brister actually played pretty decent. You want to talk a little bit about that game, possibly, or even just a rivalry?
Yeah, it's something. Once you become a Bengal, that first time you feel the electricity of the city. You feel within the organization, within the walls of the locker rooms. You feel that this is something different. I know we played Cleveland last week, or we played somebody else, last week or a week before, but it's different. And I guarantee you, even with the situation that we're in right now, that those guys are chomping at the bit, man. Those guys want to get out there Sunday in this freezing weather that we're going to have Sunday, and they want to go and beat these guys. Not only because it can possibly keep our season going, but the fact that it's just Pittsburgh. You grow up and you learn to really, to put it mildly, to dislike these guys. And it's almost close to hate. And even with our records, there's something that we can do. Even if we beat them, we may not go to the playoffs, but at the end of the day, us beating them can possibly put them out of the playoffs and put Baltimore in. So anything that we can do to ruin their season, it would be awesome.
So, Joe, let's put it like this. It comes down to the last game, Bengals and Ravens. If the Bengals beat the Ravens, the Steelers go to the playoffs. If the Ravens beat the Bengals, the Ravens go to the playoffs. Who do you cheer for, the Bengals or the Ravens?
Mike, honestly, we have no chance on going to the playoffs. I want the Ravens to win. I want the Ravens. We have no chance.
I agree, Joe.
I want the Ravens. I want the Ravens to win. I just the fact that knowing that, hey, our season sucked as bad as it did, and Pittsburgh gets in there, it'd be still. And the bad thing, Mike, you have to sit another entire off season with the fact that Pittsburgh is in the playoffs and we're on the outside looking in again. And that's just a terrible feeling, man. It's a terrible feeling, especially if it's Pittsburgh. So if that's a scenario,
if Jeremy Hill could have just held on to the damn ball last year.
I know, man. I know. It is what it is. We are. All right.
So we go to the keys of the game. To me, the biggest key. I don't know if you agree with me or not. I don't think I've seen. There's not a better running back in the NFL than Le'Veon Bell, and I'm including Ezekiel Elliott. How do you think the Bengals stop him? Because really, if you stick 7 or 8 in there, if you stick 8 in the box, then you got Antonio Brown out there one-on-one and Big Ben throwing the ball to him.
I think this game, Mike, I think that we put 8 up in the box. I think if Gunther is thinking of something else, because you have to understand the elements are still going to play a crucial part in this game. You look at the first game, and Mike, you see the first game it was raining like crazy, and those guys are dropping balls. Antonio Brown, I don't know.
And Ben's not as good in bad weather, I don't think.
No, he's not. So at the end of the day, it's still even a guy as fast as Antonio Brown. You still have to run, and it's 6 degrees, 9 degrees, I think is supposed to be the low, and snowing. So those hamstrings are not going to work as well as they are in other situations. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to stop the run. You look at what they did against Buffalo last week. They couldn't stop him. They couldn't stop him.
Yeah, they really never would have had to throw a pass to win that game.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, this still is a running league. If you are as dominant a run team, I'll take a Dallas Cowboy offensive line, and you say we have one game, to win. I'm going to take this running team over the Patriots. I would, because you're going to control the clock, control the time of possession, keeping the ball out of somebody's hands like Brady, and in 90% of the situations you're going to win. So with us, we have to be thinking about stopping the run. You see what he did last week against Buffalo. I think he had over 200-some yards, all-purpose yards.
Yeah, and they still only won the game by a touchdown.
Yes. So I think if we do that, I think offensively, I don't know if they said that AJ's going to play Sunday.
They said it today. Marvin Lewis said, I guess they plan on practicing him full go all week to see how he's going. Yeah. But Marvin said that the forecast was partly sunny, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, when we look at this game and if we get AJ back, our offense with Winston in there, that is given. Last 2 games, no, they haven't been the best opponents, but those last 2 weeks, Andy has that additional second. That pocket is not collapsing as quick as it is. The linemen are sustaining blocks, even a half a second, because that's all it takes. And
the question with the Steelers are their DBs, anyways. I would think.
Yeah, and I think offensively we can move the ball against those guys. I think defensively, I think our defense, has played better. They're playing with a little more confidence, and I think if we played straight up ball and Gunther's not in there trying to flex our defensive ends and drop our defensive ends and pass coverage.
Yeah, have Dunlap double up on Antonio Brown.
Yeah. You go and you play solid ball. You put 8 up in the box. Keep that safety, the help over top on 84, and the other corner, that's the backside corner, just has to play ball and stop the other receivers.
The other thing, if Green can play and he's fairly healthy, if you can get a double team there, it's going to make it almost impossible for them, or a lot harder to double team Eifert. Then you get Eifert one-on-one, and Pittsburgh, just like the Bengals, has had a recent history of not being able to cover really good tight ends.
Yeah, and we've seen that. Eifert has been able to take them.
Yeah, Gronk beat him by himself when they played earlier in the year in Pittsburgh.
Yes, he did. And I think, Mike, we have to factor in Boyd. I think Boyd, the last 2 weeks, I think his confidence his level is really high. And,
I think Dalton normally plays fairly well in bad weather.
Yeah. And I think Boyd wants to get back. The first game, Boyd he made the catch, but then he dropped the ball. I think it was a 4th down in our last crucial drive when he turned the ball over. So I know in his mind, he still remembers that first game. I guarantee you he does. And I know he wants to get out there and, make some plays. But I honestly think that our team this week, it's going to suck because I think we're going to go in there and we're going to beat Pittsburgh. And I think, everybody's going to be like, where the hell was all this on that, 4 or 5, bad stretch where we couldn't do anything. We couldn't play defense. We couldn't play offense. And I think, in my mind, I'm looking at it, Mike, and I think they're going to put some of these pieces together Sunday, and we're going to go out and we're going to be happy, but I think at the same time we're going to be pissed like, dude, where was this?
Well, I'll tell you, Joe, the pieces that have been missing to me are just the intensity that the team showed the last few years compared to this year. And even in the Cleveland game, you didn't see that. In years past, whether it was 2012, 13, 14, 15, a 20-0 game at halftime would have finished up 37-10.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, the only way to beat Pittsburgh is if they come out with that emotion. I know the coaches, Marvin Lewis, upset about Pac-Man Jones with the garbage can comments and everything. But you know what? To me, that defense was at their best. When they played like that, when they played with a chip on their shoulder, and when they didn't care what anybody thought about them.
Yeah. My thing is, I don't, know what people are saying or Marvin is really upset. To me, you get a guy who's, very competitive, Pac-Man, and, Pac-Man was at the beginning of the season the leader of our defense, not only the leader of our defense, the leader of our team.
Yeah, and then he seemed like he dropped off for a while in the middle of the season. But now it seems like he's back, and the team is playing a lot better, too.
Yeah, and he's playing with a little more swag. He's and that's part of, at the end of the day, it's part of football. Guys are going to talk, and this guy is running off at the mouth, and guess what? They shut him out.
Yeah, so you're allowed to talk, and I don't care what he said afterwards. As long as he beat him, I don't care. The only time, as a coach, I'm going to get mad that you ran your mouth is if they hand you your ass when you do it. Chad Johnson sending a Pepto-Bismol to the Browns DBs, and then the Browns DBs shut him down and kick our ass.
Shut him down.
That I'd have a problem with.
Yeah. So, you get out there, you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk. It just, at some point, it's still football. It's still fun. He's not doing anything. He didn't do anything to cause us to get a penalty. A bad play, get beat. Have a breakdown in the coverage. They played solid. They shut them out, and we won. So at the end of the day, my thing is I'm looking for anything to finish this season on a good note. We have 3 games. Let's go out with a bang. Let's beat our 2 rivals that we have coming up, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and let's finish this disappointing season on a high note.
All right. So you're picking the Bengals in this game?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals. I'm picking the Bengals. A lot of people definitely are going to go against the Bengals, but I'm looking at what we're doing on defense, and Burfict I think is in he's in game shape. I see Gunther has been rushing those guys.
And I'll tell you, Joe, it seems like the only linebacker playing is Burfict. You hardly ever see another one make a play. Dansby did make some plays last game, but, I mean, it seems like every tackle is made by Burfict.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think the beginning of the season with Malaluga being out for his issue and not ever really getting into game shape, and then Dansby, at the end of the day, Dansby is just past his prime. I just don't think he's a very good linebacker. I think he's had a very good career, but I think right now it's a stretch having him in there, and it's unfortunate that they don't have a young linebacker good enough to upseat him and get him out of there, because he's definitely has made more negative plays than good plays this year. And at the end of the day, it's Mother Nature. Mother Nature's coming up with him. He doesn't have that as quick as second step, and that happens. That happens to all of us. So
Mother Nature does it to everybody except maybe Tom Brady. We'll see.
I know, you see that? Wow.
Because that dude still looks like he's 26 years old running around.
Yeah.
But it'll eventually catch up to him, too.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Hopefully next week we can come back and talk about a Steeler victory, or a Bengal victory over the Steelers.
Bengal. Right.
Yeah, I screwed that up, didn't I? And I will pick the Bengals with you. I think they'll come out emotionally. I think this is basically their season. I think they come out, and I think they win the game. I think, just as a Bengals fan, that would be typical Bengals.
Exactly.
So you win that game, and then the next week they'll go get blown out by Houston and lose to Baltimore, but they'll all point to Pittsburgh. But
yeah.
I hate to be negative, but it's hard not to sometimes, Joe.
It is, especially the way that this season is going, and as much promise as we felt this season was going to be. I thought personally that this season we were going to make up for that playoff game. I just knew that bitter taste that we had at the end of the season was going to, get these guys and put some piss and vinegar in them, and it was going to, catapult them to even better year this year. But it's been the total opposite. No emotion.
Yeah, I think this all season is going to be huge to whether they still have a window or not. They need to draft really well, and they need to get a veteran lineman in here.
They're all linemen. They are, you look at Cleveland. Cleveland got rid of all their linemen. They had a couple of linemen that went to the Pro Bowl they got rid of. So I think we'll have an opportunity.
Well, they got rid of Joe Thomas. They got rid of Alex Mack, too, a couple of years ago, didn't they?
Yeah, Alex Mack, yeah. So, they'll be an interior lineman, a center, a guard, that will be on the free agency market that if we're really thinking about this nucleus, A.J. Green, Giovanni, Jeremy, Andy Dalton, that nucleus, Tyler Eifert, you have the pieces. So if you can get, a really good free agent lineman, then you luck up and get a really good lineman in the draft, because you see throughout the league, there's rookies. Man, this guy's a rookie. Oh, man, how do we pass him up? He's a rookie. He's starting. He's playing well. You look at those guys. You look at Dallas's offensive line. Yeah, you have, I think, 3 first-rounders, but the other guy, the free agents, the 2 other guys are free agents. And it's just about going out there and finding that guy. And offensively, if we are able to get one offensive lineman, and someone develops, the kid from Arizona State develops. Number 70 it's number 70. My thing, you can get beat, Mike. You can get beat.
He's not going to get developed, Joe. He's not going to get developed.
You know what? You can't make his heart, bigger. because I seen absolutely no desire, no. You get beat and there's nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah, he looks lost. It may not be that he's not trying. He just may be so lost that he doesn't know what the hell to do. That's really what he looks like to me. Yeah,
but at some point in time, Mike, you got to punch back.
Yeah, at least jump off sides and crack somebody upside the skull. Hell.
Right. So at the end of the day, I look at offensively, and I think we get a solid free agent interior. Hopefully a center. I think we can move with inside, and you take a gamble on the tackle.
And you upgrade the defense automatically just by Andrew Billings being healthy enough to play next year and William Jackson.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there, your DBs are deep enough then. Your defensive line, Pecco's probably out of here. They're not going to pay him for what he's done this year, I don't think.
I think we won't, based on what we have, our interior guys, we definitely have to find another linebacker. I think they like the third-round linebacker. I think he – so I think he'll be in there. I don't know if he's going to take over for Malaluga or if they're going to pencil him in.
I don't think there's any way Malaluga's back here next year.
I don't see it based off his play.
And I really doubt Dansby's back.
Yeah. So I think we go get a linebacker. I just hope in a situation that if we end up picking top 10. A lot of people are saying, you pick linebacker Jabril Peppers. I think that would be god-awful.
I think Peppers is more of a safety anyways, isn't he?
Peppers is 6'1", 205.
That's what I mean. He's a safety.
Yeah. And they're projecting him as linebacker. I'm looking at every game. I think he's a great athlete, but a great college,
Well, if they pick him, that's taking the best player available, which Mike Brown's known for doing. But it doesn't. Yeah. If we're going to lose two linebackers, we got to replace them. Yeah. Now, I would say with the Bengals, what they'll do is they'll go out and they'll sign somebody like a Dansby, who's over the hill, bring him in, say he's going to be the other outside backer, and they'll make Vigil the other starter.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they've done in our history. Free agents. If they sign a big name in free agency, is a guy that's past his prime, that has no other options than to come here.
Yeah.
Instead of going out on the first day and trying to really get somebody. And I don't think you should go out and sign multiple guys on the first day, because if you look at almost every team that's ever done that, it's very rarely worked out. But you can go out and sign one guy that can help your team. The Green Bay Packers went out and got Reggie White. How many times have they went out of their way to go sign anybody else at any other point in their history?
Right.
The Pittsburgh Steelers don't.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with doing that, but when you don't do that, you better draft real good. And when our draft this year turned into two guys that could have been starters, and then all of a sudden they can't play, that draft's a bust for now.
Yeah. So, it's tough. But at the end of the day, I still look at our team, and we're still, one player, two players on offense away, a linebacker and a DB away. And I think, we can do that. I don't think we need to draft a lineman, offensive line first round. I think the kid from Arizona State can develop. I think we have to.
Tell you what, though, Joe, if you can get a stud tackle in the first round, I would do it.
Yeah.
But then again, Okwuehi was a first round supposed to be stud tackle. So right there, to me, it all comes back to Paul Alexander is not a very good offensive line coach.
No.
He has a history of drafting guys that don't turn into anything. Yeah. And when you got as many guys as he's had that have been picked in the first 4 rounds of the draft, how many of them ever pan out?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. We're so close, and you still have a young nucleus. Our core, they're still in their
Dalton
prime.
Green and Eifert's still young.
Yeah, Eifert. You got Tyler Boyd. A year under his belt. You have Gio Bernard. He'll be back. All these guys are young guys. Defensive. We still you have Dunlap. You got Atkins. Burfict. William from the cornerback for the first round pick. He'll be back. So you still have a nucleus of young guys that are still able to compete at a higher level. So hopefully we can get this thing done.
All right, Joe. We'll go ahead and wrap it up for this week. Make sure you guys catch us next week on the Bengals Weekly Show, where we will review the win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we will preview, hopefully, a win over the Houston Texans. I want to remind everybody to check out Gridiron Mode at www.gridironmode.com. Great new football app. Make sure you check that out, especially before Thursday night's game. Also, I wanted to tell everybody we have a special Legend Show Friday. I will be interviewing former New York Giant linebacker Carl Banks. So make sure you guys check that out. What are your contemporaries, Joe?
Hey, awesome guy who, had he not been playing alongside of that other guy, he would definitely be a candidate for Hall of Fame. I think he still is.
I think he's kind of like the Eli Manning of linebackers. Because if you watched in the playoffs, Carl Banks, Super Bowl 21, played maybe the greatest game a linebackers ever played in the Super Bowl. He had 10 solo tackles, I think 14 or 15 tackles for the entire game. Super Bowl 25, he delivered some monster hits where they were dropping into coverage, letting the Bills catch it short and beating the hell out of them. Yeah. But, in the playoffs and the Super Bowls, he was better than LT.
Yeah, but, you look at the entire package, and even then, we would play teams, and you would see the Giants, where if we're playing a team that they just played, we're watching their defense. And Carl Banks, man, was just, there were some games, like you said, there was a lot of games where he played better than LT. But then, of course, I've seen LT do some things.
Yeah, LT was a bad
absolutely dude. Incredible. Yeah. Incredible. Amazing. As a linebacker, just like.
Well, how many times has a linebacker gone to a team, first-round pick, and that team goes from not making the playoffs for 17 years to making the playoffs immediately because of that linebacker?
Yeah.
Which is what they did in 1981 when they got him. They even won a playoff game with him. Ended up losing to the Niners in the divisional playoffs. But, that was directly, I think, just because of that one man playing defense.
Yeah, they had a great backer core. Pepper Johnson and Lucky Dog got a chance to go play with LT, Carl Banks,
Harry Carson.
Gary Reason. So, he got to play, man. He played with
he had Burt Marshall up front. That was a great defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were coached by Bill Belichick.
Yeah, exactly.
But all right, so everybody check out Carl Banks Friday. Any final words, Joe?
I think as Bengal fans, hopefully we can still support these guys because there are some guys out there still busting their ass. I'm looking at a situation where we can win out, finish 8-7-1. It's a long shot, but at the end of the day, mathematically we're still in it. But at the end of the day, season would not be lost if we just win this one. So, we go all out, man, and get this victory over the much aligned and hated Steelers. And I think that would bode well for our suffering this all season.
Yeah, and in our defense, we're not haters. It's just their fans are real assholes most of the time.
Most of the time, like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and how you shut up an asshole is by beating you.
I respect their team. It's just their fans get on my nerves.
Yeah.
It's hard not to respect a team that's been that successful.
Oh, yeah. Tomlin, I love Tomlin as a coach.
I can't stand Tomlin. I like him when he's done. I didn't like Chuck Noll, but I liked him when he retired.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. I just think the organization from top to bottom, things that they do, how they relate to their players, how they treat their players, there's a toughness to it. And, it's carried over all the way from Chuck Noll.
Hell, Joe, in 48 years, since 1968, they've only had 3 head coaches.
Yeah. You have,
and every one of them's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Chuck Noll won 4 of them.
Yeah, you're with that organization, man. It's what you expect. You walk around and you expect playoffs. You expect greatness.
Well, it's because our owner expects to win the Super Bowl. Our owner hopes for us to be competitive every year.
Yeah, at a bargain basement price.
Well, I think he pays the money now. I think I saw the other day where we're like 12th on payroll, but you got to pick the right guys.
Well, yeah, he's had to. He's come out of the
he's done better.
So I don't know.
But let's face it, I'm going to be pissed off till we win a Super Bowl, anyways, Joe.
Yeah. At least get to the NFC Championship.
Hey, the Cubs won a World Series, so nothing's impossible.
Nothing's impossible, Mike.
Of course, it took them 100-some years, and if the Bengals wait that long, Joe, we're never going to see it.
We'll be dust.
Yeah, our grandkids will be hanging Super Bowl champion T-shirts on our headstones. That's how we'll celebrate.
Right.
But, all right, well, thanks again, Joe. It was a pleasure as always. And for everybody listening in, make sure you hit us up next week on the Bengals Weekly. You can follow us at Grueling Truth. You can hear all the shows on iHeart, iTunes, Google Music, Spreaker, Stitcher. Anywhere you hear podcasts, you'll hear The Grueling Truth. So for Joe Kelly, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.